Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us. A pleasure to connect with you guys through this network. We have an audience that is Charlottesville-wide, Commonwealth-wide, countrywide, worldwide on the I Love CVille Network. We're presented by the Clifton, memorable dining experiences, memorable happy hour, one of the best places for wedding and events in the Commonwealth, the Clifton in Keswick. So much we need to cover today. Parents, and I'm one of them, are fed up. They are frustrated. Your kid's getting to school 2 hours late. 2 hours late? Because of this tardiness, because of 4 hours in some cases round trip of school bus driving, your son or daughter is missing a third of the school year, has no time for after school unwinding or quality of life, no time to focus on schoolwork with the classes they've missed. Folks are angry. And can you blame them? There was a school board meeting last night. I'm told directly from teachers and front office admins that the story we released yesterday on ilovecville.com was the chitter chatter of the leadership team within the Albemarle County Public School System. I'll give you a couple paragraphs from this story, then I'm going to relay to you some other talking points and points of concern that have been passed along to me. I love getting the direct messages, the text messages, and the emails from parents. Please keep them coming. I have thick skin, courage, confidence, a large platform. We're parents, and we're seeing firsthand what we're about to enter into with our son, and we're worried. A couple of points from our story on ilovecville.com. The Atmore County Public Schools rank in the bottom 11% of all Virginia public school systems for black third grade math students, according to SOL results on the Virginia Department of Education website. Anyone can go to the Virginia Department of Education website and find these results. Anyone. It's public record. Anyone. The results are even more concerning for Albemarle County Public School third graders who are classified as economically disadvantaged students. According to SOL scores, Albemarle County Public Schools ranks 122nd out of 128 Virginia school districts for students who are economically disadvantaged. That's the bottom 4% of all divisions. The bottom 4% of all divisions for economically disadvantaged third graders. 29% of black students and 31% of economically disadvantaged third grade math students across Albemarle County Public Schools passed the math SOL in 2022. I want to give that to you again. 29% of black third graders in the Albemarle County Public School System passed the math SOL. 31% of economically disadvantaged third graders passed the math SOL in 2022. This is not an indictment on the students. This is not an indictment on the teachers. This is, however, an indictment on the systematic failure that has resonated for a decade or longer within the Albemarle County Public School System. Albemarle County Public School leadership and the Albemarle County School Board can no longer pass the buck to previous boards or leadership regimes. That time is past. It's time for the buck to get passed to Dr. Matthew Haas, the superintendent, and it's time for us to hold the school board accountable. We are so busy in Albemarle County concerning ourselves with rebranding and renaming schools. We are so busy in Albemarle County with political agendas that we are missing the point of schools, and that's to prepare and teach our students in a fair and equitable setting. The top criteria for schools get students to school on time and safely, get students home on time and safely, and create an environment where students of all financial class and all race can learn in an equitable setting. In Albemarle County, and leadership in Albemarle County, and Matthew Haas, I'm talking to you. You guys are failing in all three criteria. You're not used to folks holding you accountable like this. You're used to your spin doctors offering a Teflon level of protection for your performance. And it's not going to happen with me. I ain't scared of you. I ain't scared of you. And I'm just getting started. Do you hear what I'm saying? I got more statistics for you. And then I'm going to get to solutions. I will get to solutions today. Linda Harrell tells us this. 34% of Albemarle County public school third graders did not pass the 2022 reading tests. She says this is nothing new. Albemarle County public schools have been leaving about 1/3 of third graders behind for years. Pre-COVID, the third grade pass rate was only 70%. You can't blame it on COVID. This shit's been going on for a decade. You can't blame it on COVID. This shit has been going on for a decade. In any business setting, if a board of directors was performing at this clip, they would be terminated. In any business setting, if a CEO was performing at this clip, he or she would be pink-slipped. In the 2022 era of being politically correct, folks are unafraid to have conversations like this. They fear doxing. They fear being labeled a racist. They feel the ramifications of a loud minority, as opposed to having the confidence, the conviction, and the backbone to stand up to that loud minority and say, you know what? You're wrong. If students get to school 1 hour and 2 hours late, how can they ever make up that curriculum in course time? They never will. And the students that are getting to school 1 hour and 2 hours late are the students that are most vulnerable to begin with. The students who have parents that are grinding on the clock and unable to drive them to school. The students living on the financial margin. The students relying on free or reduced lunches. The kids that are getting screwed here are the ones that constantly get screwed over and over and over again. Who champions the underdog? I do. Who's willing to look at an administration and say, you know what, you're doing things the wrong way, fix it, or find somebody else that can? I am willing to do that. Who is willing to make this comment in front of a lot of people? Stop spending money on rebranding and renaming schools if you cannot get children to school on time. Now, the loud minority in the area is going to say, oh, Jerry is defending and supporting Paul H. Cale. Oh, Jerry is defending and supporting Jack Jewett, Mortimer Sutherland, and Meriwether Lewis, and the awful and atrocious actions they have done in the past. I call BS on that. I call absolute BS on that. Please do not let anyone in the community spin that narrative. Call them out on it, and call them out on it quick. Do I stand for what Paul Cale and Jack Jewett and Mortimer Sutherland and Meriwether Lewis have done in the past? Hell no. But I'm a man who's able to create priority lists. And from my standpoint, you got to pay the teachers more money, and you got to get the bus drivers more money. And if you don't pay the teachers more money and the bus drivers more money, you're not going to have enough of them. The teachers are sprinting away from Albemarle County public school system, and enrollment is dropping. And it's dropping in white, wealthy districts like Western and Henley. When the enrollment is dropping in the Western Albemarle and Henley Middle School, the Western Albemarle High School and Henley Middle School hallways, that is saying something, that something is broken. Take the money, the hundreds of thousands of dollars, the ample time and resources. The opportunity cost of rebranding is not just hundreds of thousands of dollars, it is also time. The value of human capital, the most precious resource on the planet, is time. I cannot make any more of it. I can earn more money. I can't make any more time. I don't have a DeLorean, there's no Doc Brown, and there's no Marty McFly or flux capacitor. We are spending our most precious commodity, our time, on things that do not meet today's market conditions. And this, you would think, is common sense. But it appears with the Albemarle County School Board and the Albemarle County Public School leadership team that it is not common sense. In about 10 seconds, we're going to go to a 3-shot. We're going to welcome a 22-year-old, Joey Rifkin, who graduated from the Albemarle County Public School System, spent time at Sutherland and Albemarle High School. We're also going to welcome an ageless Judah Wickower to the program, a man who does not have a dog in the fight. He's single and no children. He's looking at this from a macro standpoint. And we encourage you, the viewer and listener, to be a part of the show with your thoughts, commentary, and perspective. Still to come on the program, we will talk school resource officers. I had a phone call with someone that's very close to the Charlottesville Police Department this morning. And this particular individual said, with the swatting, the hoaxes, the fake phone calls that are coming in saying that there's mass shootings in the Charlottesville City public school hallways, that these hoaxes are causing an issue with the Charlottesville Police Department because CPD does not have a direct line anymore to the hallways because the school resource officers were pulled. And they were pulled by a loud, vocal minority instead of the majority who wanted them in the hallways. And because those school resource officers are not in the hallways anymore, the police officers are having to bring the full force of the full momentum of the force to the schools. Because the fear is Columbine. Joey Rifkin, 3-shot. Let's get the 3-shot in the mix. Judah Wickower and Joey Rifkin. A man who's ageless, a man who has firsthand perspective from Sutherland and Albemarle County High School. Judah Wickower, you're going to rock and roll with your first take. You read what we positioned in front of quite a few people yesterday that undoubtedly has gone viral. 29% of black students and 31% of economically disadvantaged third-grade math students across Albemarle County public school systems could not just pass the SOL. What the hell? Yeah. Anywhere you want to go, Judah then Joey. Judah, talk to me.
So the way I see things is that our focus is constantly on the wrong things, and whether it's whether it's changing a school name because you don't like what someone did hundreds of years ago, however many years ago, or whatever else, I think people need to focus on their kids. Kids are not learning. I think parents are definitely to blame. Kids are cyberbullying each other. I think if we spent less time worrying about somebody 150 years ago and more time teaching our kids to be decent human beings, we would get rid of a lot of these problems.
Joey Rifkin, 22, product of ACPS. Relay to us what you relayed off air. You don't have to if you don't want to.
I mean, no, I mean,
I thought it.
I'll come out and say it. The 3 years I spent at Sutherland Middle School were easily the most anti-Semitic 3 years of my life, and that includes the 4 years I spent in high school, which were easily a close second. So I find
How so?
Well, I mean, I just, kids, and I guess being one of 6 or so Jewish kids in a school of 2,200 kids, let's say, at AlbCo High School, it makes it very easy to become a target for things like that, and whatever. That's how it is, I guess. But I just find it, I guess, ironic that we're putting all this time and resources to change the name of the school, even though the name doesn't at all represent the school's beliefs in any way. Why does it matter? Like, the resources could be going to somewhere else, when in reality, changing the name isn't going to make the kids at the school any less racist or any less anti-Semitic. It comes down to what those kids are learning on the internet or outside of school, and what behavior is being accepted by their parents.
Changing the name of the school is also not going to help any of the students do better on their SOLs or any other test, and it's not going to make them study harder or behave themselves on a bus.
75% of the parents at Sutherland voted not to change the name. 75% on the survey. Atmore County leadership did it anyway. School board did it anyway. Then they were given a list. Excuse me, that was Jack Jewett. 75% at Jack Jewett. Vanessa Parkhill relayed this to me. Turned out to be Journey Middle School. Of the schools for Journey, the name, that was the 4th pick by the parents.
Yeah.
The 4th pick. And still it was named Journey. So Joey, 3/4 of the parents at Jack Jewett said don't change the name. They did it anyway. Once they decided to change the name, they gave them a list of what to pick, and Journey was picked, despite it not being the first, second, or third choice by the parents. Let's take Lakeside, Sutherland, your old stomping grounds. They went through the pomp and circumstance of changing the name to Lakeside. Pomp and circumstance, great PR, great media. Hey, we're catering to the people that want the name change. But they forgot to change a sign right on the middle of the grounds. Anywhere you want to go, Joey Rifkin.
Well, I mean, the sign is a perfect example of they're really going to do just the bare minimum they can to get the optics right and make them look as good as they possibly can, and that's about it. I mean, it really shows that they don't care what the parents have to say about it. Even, I'm sure they could care even less what the students have to say about it. They're doing what is in their best interest and what makes them look the best, not what makes the school look the best, or what is in the best interest for the students at the school. It's in the best interest for the board.
Personal agendas and in the best interest of the board. Phenomenal take from the young Jedi. Judah Wickhauer, I see you scribbling some notes. We're going to get to those notes in a matter of moments. We got to talk solutions. I want to talk school resource officers. Had a conversation with someone that was as close to the Charlottesville Police Department as you can get as you were walking in this morning. The conversation was ending. The Charlottesville Police Department, I stand with the blue. I've said that many times on this program. People who risk their lives for our quality of life, I will never degrade. Are there tough apples in any bad apples in any barrel? Sure. But those bad apples don't reflect an entire department. Nor will I allow it on my platform to reflect that. This particular individual said, the hoaxing and the swatting, where people are calling in mass shootings, The police department doesn't have a direct line to the schools. There used to be the direct line to school resource officers. They're gone. So the police department has to play it like it's an actual, real mass shooting, some kind of Columbine stuff. And they send the entire force, or just about all of it, with the machine guns and everything in tow. Remember, we saw them buzzing by here this week. We heard them on the talk show earlier this week. The police department wants us to convey to the community, without that direct line within the hallways, we have to respond in this fashion for fear that this threat is an actual reality. And that's why you saw the full force of the department outside Charlottesville High School. The notes that you were scribbling on Albemarle County first, though, before we get to this topic and school resource officers, I want to talk solutions. The solutions we have suggested on this program is take the rebranding money and give more money to teachers, take the rebranding money and give more money to the bus drivers. Louisa County upped the pay of bus drivers. They have a full fleet of drivers. Albemarle County has a higher cost of living than Louisa County, but Louisa County bus drivers are making more than Albemarle bus drivers. Judah Wickower, the show is yours. Anywhere you want to go.
Well, my question is, where's the money for the rebranding coming from? Is that, are we 100% certain that that is just school money that has been allocated for rebranding? Or is that something that was provided by the state and is specifically...
Not from the state. No, for a fact, not from the state.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, I mean, it seems like it's just in that case, I guess a misallocation of priorities.
Janice Boyce Trevelyan. Boyce Trevelyan yesterday. At the school board meeting, Joey, Dr. Matthew Haas and the school board, they decided to hire an outside firm, a consultant, to help with the low SOL scores. And she says, tongue-in-cheek, that doesn't seem like the best use of the money. Let's bring an outside consultant that has no ties to the area. Let's pay them a boatload of money. Let's spend a lot of time for the consultant to troubleshoot and analyze and figure things out. And then maybe we'll come to a solution. You know what outside consultants are? It's a cover for leadership. Because leadership, when they hire the outside consultant, can say, this is what the consultant told us to do, which protects them from actual decision making. It's called a Teflon Don approach.
We see that a lot, don't we? I mean, that's how our city approaches finding a new city manager.
Exactly.
And finding a lot of other stuff. It seems to be a go-to when
tough decisions are being made.
And you don't know what to do.
When tough decisions are being made, people in superintendent position leaderships want that tough decision to be made by somebody else so they can say, if the decision goes poorly, they told me to do it. Joey Rifkin.
First of all, I'd like to know what Matthew Haas drove to that meeting, just out of borderline curiosity. And I think you're exactly right. I mean, bringing in a consultant is just a way of them having some sort of scapegoat for if anything goes wrong, they can just quickly defer and be like, hands up, you know. So
Dr. Matthew Haas makes $197,889 per year plus benefits.
Yeah, what's his pension too?
Plus his pension,
Yeah.
plus his bennies, plus the perk, plus the cell phone. Judah Wickower.
I don't begrudge him what he gets paid. I mean, there are people in all kinds of jobs that get paid. You know, you can take a look at someone's salary and say whatever you want about them, but at the end of the day, obviously more needs to be done. And you know, I don't think calling him out on how much he gets paid is gonna help at all. I think I think writing the article that you wrote is far more apt to get people taking a long, hard look at themselves and what they're doing as a board and a superintendent to fix these issues that, as we've noted, have been ongoing for long enough that this is no longer pass the buck, like somebody else caused the problem and we're just dealing with it. We're now in the territory of, okay, this is ours to own. Let's fix it.
Go to ilovecville.com, everybody watching this program. Everyone that's going to watch this program post-time, listen to this program on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok, 15 Facebook pages, 15 Twitter accounts, anywhere on social media this show airs on. The Fountain app, we just got put on the Fountain app, okay? Everyone go to ilovecville.com and read the story we wrote yesterday. It's front and center. Paul McCarter will get to your comments. The king of Southside, Paul McCarter, is looking like a damn good school board candidate. Paul McCarter is looking like a damn good school board candidate. I will get to your comment in a matter of moments. I want to get your take and your take on this. The people that are saying the rebranding efforts are not the best use of tax dollars are now being labeled as racist by a vocal minority. I want to get your takes on that on this show in a matter of moments. Before we do, we're going to hear from DOD, Danny O'Day. Danny O'Day. My fiance, he says, works at an unaccredited school. Those teachers are really the toughest, thickest skinned, and most passionate teachers I have ever met. Their classrooms are full of kids with tough home lives, and the teachers and school relationships there are often the most unreliable community support that they get. Danny O'Day says, wait, hold on, just asking questions. Did they really forget to change the sign? I mean, a new sign doesn't materialize out of thin air the second the name changes. Do we know that they didn't order a new sign? Danny O'Day, this has been months, if not longer, that the Sutherland sign, and you can find the sign on the I Love CVille Instagram. I'm looking at it right now. If you go to I Love CVille on Instagram, it's on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th, 8th row of our profile grid. Look for this sign right here. I'll hold it up on screen. I'm not going to ask you to do this on the fly, Joey Rifkin. Okay? But it's on the screen. Lakeside Middle School, and they forgot to change this sign right in the middle of the school. Right in the middle of the school. Paul McCarter, the king of Southside. It's the same reason they outsourced the name change decisions to a committee of parents and teachers rather than making the hard, unpopular decisions themselves as leadership. They want a Teflon Don approach. If it backfires like it's doing now, Albemarle County Public School leadership can say, hey, the parent committee and the teacher committee made that change. Call BS on that. Because if you take Jack Jewett, 75% of the parents didn't want the name change, and still the leadership changed it. I want your takes on this. The people that say this, and it's on Instagram, it's on Twitter. Twitter Charlottesville, Socialist Charlottesville, is saying this. Jerry doesn't want the names changed. He must be a racist.
That's an easy way to deflect.
It's on. You've seen it on Twitter. I showed it to you.
It doesn't matter where I've seen it or where, if somebody's, if you're going to run around calling people racist, you obviously have nothing to say. Let's start caring more for our kids than about political agendas.
Joey Rifkin, you want to touch that at all? You don't have to, Joey.
I mean,
no pressure on any of these topics, Joey.
I think it's very easy to say that, they don't want the name change, they must be racist. It's very easy to say that at face value. But when you break it down to, well, we can change the name of the school, but let's pay the teachers and the bus drivers first. Let's give the students access to breakfast in the morning. Let's reallocate those funds to somewhere, actually better than just a name change. I mean, you said the comment came from Socialist CVille. I would imagine a bunch of socialists would rather, as a self-proclaimed socialist myself, I assume a bunch of socialists would like to see funds allocated to teacher salary, bus driver salary, resources for students instead of a sign on top of a building. I think it's honestly ridiculous that a group of socialists are going to say that we should spend money on changing the name instead of we should spend money on improving work and life of teachers and bus drivers. I mean, calling someone racist just because they'd rather someone have a better salary, it's not like saying we shouldn't have taken down the Robert E. Lee statue because we could have put a little bit more flowers around it. It's completely different. So that's what I have to say about that. I think it's not about Jerry doesn't want the names of the school changed. It's maybe we should think about the things that we should put that money towards first and the priorities.
Dude.
Yeah, first, I think
22 years old and freaking's got it perfect.
First is key, and we've had several viewers make comments that I appreciate. In that, yes, most people are not saying it's one or the other. Let's change the names of the schools over taking care of the kids. And so I think it's good to point out that nobody's like saying let's forget about the kids and let's just change the names of these schools. I think most of the people out there want to take care of the kids, but I think it is key that that they're choosing to rebrand the schools first.
Yeah, I'm all for rebranding the schools.
Yeah, but make sure the kids are taken care of before you get on your high horse and start, throwing around names that nobody wants.
Yeah,
in the school.
We can rebrand the schools. Cool. Let's rebrand them. But can we use the limited resources we have to get the kids to school on time and to prevent the mass exodus of teachers leaving the classroom, sprinting to private schools, or leaving the teaching profession altogether? How the hell are we going to teach kids if we don't have enough teachers and we can't get the kids in the classroom? How do kids learn if they can't get in the classroom? This is common sense. Rebrand the schools. Cool.
Just do it after you've got everything copacetic with the kids.
Yeah! That's all I'm saying.
I think that's all we're all saying.
I mean, right? I mean, what the hell? How is the school system not doing this? Vanessa Parkhill in Earlysville, Jerry, Joey, and Judah. Why do we pay Dr. Haas and other administrators if they're just going to turn around and pay money to consultants? Aren't they supposed to be in those positions because of their experience and expertise? Vanessa Parkhill is a woman of common sense. And you know what the crappy part of this, Vanessa, is this. They're paying the consultants the money because they don't want to make the ballsy, tough decisions themselves. They would rather have consultants make the decisions. If the decision-making backfires, they can say, point finger, that consultant told us to do it. That's what's happening here. It's a shell game. I'm on the Upper East Side in the Big Apple, walking out of Joe's Pizza after eating a couple slices, and I see Kevin or Christopher or Juan or Laura with a cardboard box in front of them, 3 shells and a little ball underneath it, and they're moving it around real fast and asking for our tax dollars and saying, where's the ball? Give me your tax dollars. Where's the ball? It's pomp and circumstance, smoke and mirrors. That's what's happening. Rifkin, I see the wheels turning. I see the wheels turning fast over there, Rifkin. Anywhere you want to go, Rifkin.
I mean, very simple. They just don't want to be blamed for anything. And if they can avoid any sort of public scrutiny by any excuse possible, I think that's the route they're going to go.
Dude, you got good takes.
Appreciate that.
You're good in this setting. Dude, he's 22. Is he not, viewers and listeners watching this program, good in this setting? The dude has got good takes. Buchensky, Michael, Coach Buchensky watching this program. Can those schools document in any way if these name changes have any correlation with improved student graduation rates, testing improvements, or general overall better educational experiences? If there is empirical data that justifies, then rebrand away. If not, they need to stop virtue signaling and address the real issues at hand. I mean, that is so well said.
And we all know that the rebranding has absolutely no effect on test scores.
The rebranding is not going to help a third grader pass the math SOL.
Yeah.
Can anyone make a justifiable argument that changing the name of Meriwether Lewis is going to help a third grader do better at math? Anyone here? I can't do that, can you?
I can't even imagine being a third grader and knowing who Meriwether Lewis was. In third grade, maybe there are some third grade history buffs out there that know all about the racial implications of our now most derided public figures. But as a third grader, I honestly wouldn't have cared two wits about the name of the school.
As a third grader, all I cared about was playing soccer, my schoolboy crush on Jessica Pasco, making sure I didn't pee my pants, and trying to sit in my seat so Mrs. Wingo didn't spank me with the yardstick. I went to Catholic school. As a third grader, all I cared about was trading baseball cards, seeing if I can cross the monkey bars without falling down on the mulch bed. As a third grader, all I cared about was what Jessica was doing in the seat next to me. Man, those curly blonde locks, I can remember them to this day. What were you remembering, Joey Rifkin, as a third grader?
I remember not caring about the name of my elementary school and paying a lot of attention to my third grade teacher.
There you go. Third grade Judah Wickhauer.
Man, I was running around on the playground with my friends reenacting A-Team shows and the Dark Crystal. I mean, that was that's
The Dark Crystal.
Like.
What was the Dark Crystal? Do you know the Dark?
That weird one with like the puppets and that girl, or
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, that
Joey
one.
knows
I watched that
himself.
when I was like 6, very traumatized. from
You
that.
watched that when you were 6?
Like way too young to be watching that movie.
I love Joey so much.
It's a kid's show, but yeah, it was pretty traumatizing.
Oh, I love Joey so much. Sarah Hill says, how are the consultant groups and parent committees chosen and formed? Great question.
Craigslist.
Yeah, Craigslist. God, Rifkin is freaking funny. Is there a laugh track on this? Is there a laugh on this?
Yeah.
Where's the laugh? Play the laugh for Rifkin over here for saying Craigslist.
Let's see.
How are the consulting groups and parent committees formed?
Oh, that's not it.
That's not the laugh track.
Where's the
That's
laugh
a belch. He did the
Yo,
belch.
man.
The parent committees. There we go. There it is.
Sounds kind of like chickens.
That's a laugh track. The parent committees are formed, and the consulting groups are formed by swiping left and right on Tinder. That's how they're formed.
Yeah.
I think someone in the front office of Albemarle County Public Schools is swiping left. They're swiping right. Ooh, I like what they look like. Let's put them on the Meriwether Lewis Naming Committee. Ooh, swipe left, swipe right. Let's put them on the Jack Jewett Naming Committee. I mean, might as well. King of Redfields. Got a direct one for us. Bob Yarborough. I hear you about the priorities, boys. I just don't think it's as clear swap out, so to speak. Let's say they quit the rebranding altogether and all of those funds go to teacher pay raises. I just don't think those savings move the needle on those salaries. But I don't know because I don't have the total spend.
Yeah,
let's say it's $1 million. The total learning staffing budget is like $168 million. At $60,000 annual salary, that's not a significant increase. That's fair.
I was having that same thought the other day. I also don't know the numbers, so it's really impossible to calculate. But yeah, what if you're saving $1 million on rebranding for one school, and you've got to spread that around between I don't know how many. Let's say you want 17 bus drivers and how many teachers? 50?
Okay,
55.
let's
say it's 60 teachers and bus drivers, and I think 1 million is maybe a little high for
let's just use $1 million.
A single school's rebranding.
Let's use $1 million. Let's use $1 million. Okay.
$1 million for all of Charlottesville
For
rebranding?
Albemarle County rebranding.
Okay.
All schools. $1 million.
Yeah.
We're in the branding business. $1 million for all those schools that have been rebranded is not a ton. Right? I mean, you're talking gym floors, you're talking walls, you're talking signage. You and I know how expensive this is. Let's just say $1 million and let's just do it for the bus drivers. And let's use the number 20. They don't have 20 bus drivers. They don't have 20 bus drivers in Atmore. But for the sake of easy math, you're going to use 20. $1 million divided by 20 bus drivers. That's $50,000 additional dollars for the drivers. That would move the needle.
That would definitely move the needle, but I think
that would move the needle.
I think you're a little high there.
On what? The $1 million?
The $1 million and just spreading it around the bus drivers.
Okay,
What
let's
about
do
all the
this.
teachers?
Let's do this. Let's call it 700. Let's just do bus drivers. We have to get the kids to school. Let's call it 750,000. They don't have 20 bus drivers right now. 750,000 divided by 20. That's 37,500 extra for the bus drivers. The bus drivers are making $16.15 an hour. If we said to the bus drivers, here's an extra 37,500 bucks, we don't think people would come up and drive some tin cans and pick up kids? Do we? Right?
You get the 15 plus the 37?
Yeah.
Man, I'd start driving.
Okay, there you go. Judah Whitcower is about to quit and be a bus driver. He's going to drive in the morning and the evening.
I'll get my CDL right now.
He's getting his CDL right now. There you go. Michael Buchensky says Joey looks like a superstar, a celebrity, almost like Jesse from Breaking Bad. You're getting some props right now.
I'll take that.
Absolutely take that. Jesse was a pimp, right?
Of course.
Jesse was a pimp. Catherine Lochner, parent committees are formed by school board members choosing them. There is a personal connection between the parent committees and the school board. Therefore, it's causing an echo chamber. Good Lord. That sounds like nepotism.
That sounds exactly like nepotism.
That's nepotism. School board members, woke agenda.
I don't know if I'd call it nepotism.
What do you call it? What do you call it?
I mean,
favoritism? You call it undemocratic? What do you call it?
yeah, I mean,
This is the definition of nepotism. The practice among those with power or influence favoring friends or relatives by giving them positions or jobs. That is nepotism.
but is that a job or is that just are they actually giving people jobs?
Jobs or positions of influence.
Okay, fair enough.
School board members that have agendas, picking parents, cherry picking them to be on committees.
Who will follow their agenda?
Who will follow their agenda? What? What is going on here? This is the corruption of public schools led by a vocal and organized minority pushing, and maybe you're turned off by this. I'm still trying to figure it out. And if you're turned off, I mean this in respectful fashion. Okay? You can tell me, you can go at me. Go at me if you want. Go at me. Pushing wokeism. Moms and dads watching the program, I'm going to say this again. Write this down and tell your friends and family to listen to this damn show. The school board is cherry picking parents for committees. And the school board, in nepotistic fashion, is hand picking and cherry picking parents to push their wokeism agenda. Who wants to touch that? You don't have to if you don't want to. You'll catch some heat, I assure you, on Charlottesville Twitter if you do. Joey don't want to touch that one right there. Do you want to touch that one? Totally fine if you don't want to. I don't want to put you in a tough spot.
Just because I feel so the reason I call out nepotism is because I feel it's a bit strongly worded the way you use it. I don't know, but I don't think these people, I can understand if they're choosing people that happen to align with their own beliefs. We all do that.
I do not do that. I do not do that.
Okay.
You and I are completely opposite people. If I wanted to do a talk show with somebody, I would not pick you, the bear to my bull. You, on every single talk show, Scott Airworth literally said this as he walked in and delivered Lampo. You two, Jerry and Judah, contradict and are opposite on every damn thing you do.
But we have very similar belief systems.
Judah, everything you say, not everything. I'm going to be not hyperbolic. Hyperbolic is the word. I will not be hyperbolic. You're doing it right now.
That's because you need a mediating voice, Jerry.
You nitpick everything I said.
That's because you say everything as though it was written in stone fact.
If I'm
when
just saying,
in reality,
we're doing it right now. It's literally happening right now. Joey's feeling a little. Are you feeling uncomfortable right now?
This is why I'm in the middle of the shop.
Okay, there we go. That's why he's the media. Joey's so good. I love Joey. You are doing it now. If I wanted somebody to just be a yes man or a yes woman, I would have. Who would I have? I would have.
the fact of the matter is,
My cousin John saying this. You're right, Jerry.
We still
100% you're right, Jerry.
Fairly closely.
I agree with everything you're saying, Jerry. You do not do that.
But because I need more information, we are two very different people who happen to align on similar political lines. But in terms of how we view the world, you are a trumpeter. You shout out your beliefs to everyone who will listen. I am a learner. I always want to know more. And unless you give me like written in stone facts, I will keep asking you for more information, because I'm not going to just sit here and say, okay, you're right, because you're very bombastic.
Okay, and that's a perfect example of me not surrounding myself with people that are nothing but yes people.
Right.
He made my argument better than me. You know what I could do? I could hire someone and pay a bank, lives in Albemarle County as a homeowner, as a single man, right in the urban ring, 8 minutes from the downtown mall, literally.
Yes, but your statement of them pulling in people for whatever board or team or whatever where they're getting this is all hypothetical. You're not pointing at any particular group and saying, look how they all say the same thing, or look how all these people agree with this guy who gave them the job. I think you're probably fairly close to the mark on this, but you're not dealing in facts.
Dude. Catherine, okay, want some facts? Catherine Lochner, watching the program right now. Catherine Lochner, did you at one time run for school board? In fact, I'll just put your name in Google. Catherine Lochner, Albemarle County. She was an at-large candidate, interviewed by Charlottesville Tomorrow.
Okay.
Ran for school board, Catherine Lochner.
You sound like you've just made a point.
I'm about to make the point.
Okay.
Here it comes. Catherine Lochner ran for school board, Albemarle County. She's putting in the feed. The parent committees are chosen by the school board members.
Yeah.
Is it not a logical leap that if the school board members are picking the parental committees, human nature would suggest they're picking and selecting people that align with their beliefs and values?
That may be a logical assumption, but it is not a statement of facts. I'm sorry. We're always going to differ on you presenting some...
And that's a perfect example of me not surrounding myself with yes people. Right there. Joey is getting so much empathy and sympathy right now. Travis Hackworth and Danville says, poor Joey, stuck in between this argument.
My head's just going back and forth.
Someone else just said, all your names start with J. Scott Airworth says, this is the magic when J-Dubs and Jerry have these discussions. And I'm very well aware of that. I'm very well aware of a little verbal sparring makes for some fantastic ratings and viewership. Very well aware of that. Very well aware. MJ Arquette and Joey, I want to get you in the mix, and we still got to talk school resource officers. MJ Arquette, how many kids do you have in Albemarle County Public Schools, MJ? She's the queen of marketing. I believe it's 3 and a husband. No, excuse me. I believe you have 4 in Albemarle County Public Schools and a husband that's a teacher in Albemarle County Public Schools. She says, so I think the show has had a lot of heavy topics lately, mirroring what's happening in the world. And when things are heavy, a lot of times we speak in extremes. But I think at the end of the day, what makes these topics heavy and difficult is that we are living in a space where several things can be true at the same time. For example, I want equity, acceptance, and a safe space for all people in our school system, but I can still be frustrated with how this has been handled. None of these issues are an either or.
Yeah.
People need to expand their horizons and do some critical thinking. Can you do the soundtrack on that and give her some props? Thank you. Thank you. Three kids in Albemarle County Public Schools and a husband teaching middle school. My middle schooler is at Sutherland/Lakeside. Is that what we just call it now? Southern Lakeside Middle School.
Southern Lakeside.
Yeah, Souther-side.
Souther side.
Souther-side.
I like Lakeside.
Lakeside's better, yeah.
You like, no, is it Lakeland?
Nah.
Lakeland Middle School?
Nah,
Okay.
Slakeside.
What do you call it?
Slakeside.
Slakeside.
Yeah.
They go to Slakeside. I can't. That's
Sure.
tough to pronounce. Slakeside. Everyone is using it. Kevin Higgins says you should call it landslide.
That was what it was like when I went there, so. that's
Tell
a
us
good way
about
to-
the experiences. Multiple people are asking for more firsthand experiences from Joey at Sutherland.
Wow, man.
Don't hold back, Joe.
we don't have enough time for all of my Sutherland Middle School experiences, but I mean, I don't know. I think my time in middle school has to do with being not maybe quote unquote as popular as some of the other kids, and being one of like 4 Jewish kids in the entire school is pretty easy for putting a target on your back in that sense. So I think that's a big part of why my experience at Sutherland was so bad. But I mean, I do have friends that also agree that their time at Sutherland was probably their worst time in school. Whether that has to do with kids are just more mean at that age, or there was some sort of negative culture going on when we were there, I don't know. But from first-hand experience, I felt disrespected just based on my religion, and
Because you were Jewish.
because I was Jewish. And to be very clear, I am not practicing. I'm very bad at being Jewish, but I am, like, I was bar mitzvahed and all that, and so it was known. And
I mean, your last name is Rifkin.
yeah, I mean, it's not hard to figure
as a
out.
Jewish name?
Yeah, it's more of an Irish last name.
Oh, is it Irish last name?
I mean, I don't know if it's like specifically.
I mean, all I got to say is this. By my count, and I've known you for all of
I never would have guessed
3
it.
days, I think you're a phenomenal human being. And I think
Appreciate
you're a phenomenal broadcaster.
Thank you.
No,
well,
so-
I did win most likely to be a talk show host at Sutherland Middle School.
Get out of town. This is serendipitous. This is
Indeed.
serendipity here. Seriously. Dude has OBS background, production background, and won most talented broadcaster at Sutherland. This is serendipity. I want to go over there and give this man a hug. Keep talking to us, Joey. What was it like firsthand, Sutherland, you went through? Was it the most trying time of your life?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say it was the most trying time. I would say socially it was the worst time for me. I was the least aggressive towards people who were mean to me at that time. So I was very bad at standing up for myself, and I just kind of took whatever people threw at me. And it was just a lot of anti-Semitism for the most part for me. And I got that from students, and I got that from a few teachers. I definitely...
You got that from teachers?
Well, I remember specifically I was
Hold them accountable, Joey.
called out a couple of times by a teacher in front of the entire class for a number of things. But an example I'll give is we were doing some sort of like learning, some Jewish holiday was happening, and we were reading some prayer, and one of the girls, I wasn't about to go reading all this stuff. Like, I wasn't trying to be the center of attention. I really wanted to not be seen at all. And this girl's like, oh, I'll read the prayer, and she stands up, tries to read it. It's in Hebrew, obviously, written in English, but in Hebrew. So she can't, like... Yeah, exactly that. And she like, is mispronouncing every word. I don't care, because she's a 7th grader trying to read a language she doesn't know. Mm-hmm. But then my teacher, out of nowhere, just goes, okay, Joe, why don't you just stand up and do it? And I was like,
no thanks.
How about no? Like, no. And then one time I got in trouble because I said Jesus Christ in the classroom, and she wrote me up for that, and I got in-school suspension for that, which, whatever, fair. If that offends some people, then I'm not going to argue with that. But it was when I came back into the classroom to get my stuff, she was like, I get, like, with your religion, you don't believe Jesus was real and all that. And I was like, all right, you are just, like, completely incorrect. And now you're just assuming.
You're in 7th grade?
Yeah, and this was in 7th grade.
Christian school?
No, this is Sutherland. This is a public school.
Sutherland.
Oddest thing I've ever heard.
It was so weird. I was like, how is this relevant? I get that I said that, and I get that offends you, and I have no problem with that. But it has nothing to do with my religion. It just has everything to do with the fact that my dad didn't care that I said it. So, like, why you have to bring that into that? And part of it was just, like, you're a teacher. You shouldn't be bringing it up, period. It shouldn't matter to you. So most of it, I got a lot from kids, the basic throwing the pennies, things like that. But I guess, it was weird. The teacher thing was really weird for me. That was a little odd. But, I definitely can say for certain, as much as I'm for changing all the names, I'm totally for that. I don't think it will change any sort of culture that's already present.
Yeah. And that's common sense.
What is there anything particular behind the pennies thing, or is it just something stupid?
It's just stupid, but it's like, let's see if he'll like turn around and pick up
and pick up the penny.
And it's I'm going to. You're giving me free money. I'll take it. But like, it was whatever. You learned it like by the time high school started, I'd heard everything, so like it really just kind of bounced off of me by that point. But like, over the 3 years of middle school, it was a lot of, hey, there's the Jew kid. And, it was like, all right, now I'm over it, so.
Oh, Joey, I feel for you. God.
Is what it is.
It's for thee, but not for me.
I feel for Joey. Dude, he's turning into inner circle family and friends already. Multiple people are asking what bus you rode, Joey. And were you at Sutherland during A12, August 12, 2017?
No.
And multiple parents are saying, I'm sorry you had to deal with this. You should relay the bus experience.
I appreciate that. Thankfully, I did not ride the bus at Sutherland. My mom lives close. My mom lives in Forest Lake, so I was able to walk home from school. Anytime my dad would, I would stay at my dad's house. He'd pick me up, so I didn't ride the bus in Sutherland, but I did ride the bus in high school, and that was completely different. The bus to my mom's house really was not all that bad, but it was the bus ride to my dad's house that was really crazy, I guess. It was just... Basically, we picked up kids from Jewett and we picked up kids from Albemarle, and all the kids from Albemarle would be sitting in the back, of course, and then the kids, the Jewett kids would be sitting in the front. But there was this kind of like hierarchy depending on where you sat in the bus, like how far to the back of the bus you were.
Were the cooler kids?
Yeah, I know those kids. They definitely aren't the cool kids. But
alpha dogs.
Yeah, they were the alpha dogs of that bus, which is like very easy to be an alpha dog from that bus. But anyways, what I'm saying is like I just heard some very obscene stuff on the bus. I remember very vividly the first day I rode the bus, my first day of high school. I haven't ridden the bus since elementary school, so I don't know what to expect. The bus picks me up from my dad's house. My dad's house was the last stop to pick a kid up. So the bus is already completely full. I walk all the way to the back. sit down, and the first thing I hear, obviously the kid doesn't know, but it was just ironic that the first thing I heard was the kid saying directly behind me is, "God, I hate Jews."
What?
And I'm just like,
Good.
man, this is going to be a long, 4 years. And yeah, I mean,
They said that to you?
no, they didn't say it to me. They just said it, and it just.
And you coincidentally were walking by?
I just coincidentally sat down right as so their topic was, whatever their topic of conversation was about was, yeah. And you know, I wouldn't say that my bus was the most hostile out of all of them, though, because a lot of it was the kids that sat in the back was just a group of friends, and they were just loud and obnoxious and would say ridiculous things that kids that age would say. Thankfully, I didn't ride a bus where I've witnessed any sort of bullying well, there was actually one time on my mom's on the bus to my mom's house.
What happened then?
There wasn't really anything that happened. I just remember one particular time a kid got beat up, in the back of the bus,
Like badly?
No, just kind of smacked around. I mean, yeah. Swung back.
Michael Buchensky says, have the public schools turned into Lord of the Flies?
I don't know if they've started eating each other yet, but maybe.
He also says, our society has become tribalized. Yeah. Do Democrats hire Republicans and vice versa often in politics? I would argue no, so I would tend to agree with Jerry's take on the cronyism and nepotism. It is not fact, but when there is an agenda a school board wants to implement, you would logically select those sympathetic to these goals. Yeah, that's well said, Michael Buchensky. I think that's just human nature.
That's fair.
Just human nature. Dude, I am I want to go over there and give you a hug.
Nah, it's okay. Don't worry about it, Jerry.
School resource officers, I'll relay the take that CPD is asked to get into the narrative. And this is what CPD has asked this platform to get into the narrative. Without the school resource officers in the hallways, the Charlottesville Police Department doesn't have a direct line of communication to the schools when swatting incidents or these mass gun shooting hoaxes, the 911 fake calls. I guess you said it's not even calls anymore. I mean, you explained this so well when you were on the show last time. It's not like kids are picking up a phone and calling and saying that there's going to be a mass shooting anymore, because that can be tracked fairly easily. You said this is happening through disguised ISP addresses. I'll let you explain that, because you seem to have a level of sophistication I certainly do not. But this is the message that the Charlottesville Police Department is asked to get into the community minds through this platform. If we don't have a school resource officer in the hallway, then we don't have a direct line of communication when we get these alerts. So we have to send the full force of the department to the school in case this is like a legitimate Columbine situation. So that's when earlier this week we saw this and it was everywhere, and parents or students were taking videos of the police officers with machine guns in the hallways scaring the bejeebus out of them. The police officers have said, we didn't know otherwise because the school resource officers aren't there for us to communicate with. They've asked that to get into the public narrative through this water cooler, the I Love CVille Network. Show's yours, gentlemen. And I just realized how you guys did the lower thirds on screen. I love it. The jack of all trades and the trade of all jacks. It's brilliant. It's freaking brilliant. I love it.
That's all on Joey.
Joey, it's brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Who wants to start? Why don't you, since he offered a great first-hand take, and then you have some ammunition for us as well. Judah, school SROs.
I mean, all I can do is reiterate what you said. I mean, the school needs somebody that police can liaise with when they find out there's a problem. Somebody that can say, I'm looking up and down the halls, and I think you've been swatted.
That seems like common sense to me.
Yeah.
Joey Rifkin.
Yeah, I mean, my own personal views of police as a whole aside, if having a school resource officer in the school is going to prevent, in this case, us wasting taxpayer dollars and resources sending a bunch of armed police, military-esque police to school to defuse the situation that isn't even there, then of course we need to have some sort of way to directly communicate between the police department and the schools, because all it takes is one person to call in a fake hoax, and then you've reallocated a ton of resources from the police department to somewhere else, and someone who might want to use that nefariously could totally use that as some sort of distraction or whatever. So I do see why we would need to have school resource officers for this scenario.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good point. Those services
Common sense.
are for emergencies, and having them, Lord forbid that Charlottesville ever desperately needs its SWAT team for something, but generally speaking, if something were to happen where they were needed and they were otherwise taken up with some fake call, that would be very sad, and that's when bad things happen.
There you go.
Somebody gets hurt that could have been prevented because some resource was, it's like sending a fire truck in the opposite direction of where there's an actual fire.
Well said. Can I emphasize facts? You like facts? Here are facts. Albemarle County Public School System enrollment is dropping. That's a fact. Albemarle County Public School teachers are quitting less than ever. That's a fact.
You mean more than ever?
There's less teachers than ever.
More of them are quitting.
More of them are quitting. Bus drivers quitting at the most aggressive clip ever. Those are 3 facts. We have to figure out the underlying conditions of those disturbing trends. And from a common sense standpoint, it seems to be lack of compensation and piss poor quality of life and potentially downright incorrigible students.
I can't help but think the state of housing in Charlottesville may also play a part.
But that's compensation.
Can you compensate someone enough to make Charlottesville housing affordable?
I was having this
I don't know.
conversation, and I'm not going to use her name. She is watching the show right now. I am not going to use her name. And she highlighted that teachers are paid X amount of dollars for 9 months of work. And then she said they can then go get another job and grind for 3 extra months.
The key word being can, if they so choose.
The response I have to that is those 9 months that they worked are at a level and clip and amount of hours that's equivalent to a 12-month job.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they're asked to utilize their own damn money. My wife has asked me to stop cursing. They've asked to use their own darn money on school supplies.
Yeah.
So to say, teachers, you have 3 extra months, go find another job,
Go out and hustle so you can afford to live in this town.
is disingenuous at best.
I mean, what I say to that is, you go find me a job that you can get as someone in their late 20s, mid 30s for only 3 months that can
That's
pay
legit.
your bills. Like, you can't do that. No one's going to do that. Oh, okay, you're a job 9 months out of the year. Forgo your 3-month vacation and work at McDonald's for 3 months. Sorry,
or scoop ice cream somewhere for the hot summer months.
And we're not knocking ice cream scoopers or McDonald's
No,
here.
right.
We're not.
But we're not
knocking
saying teachers should have to do it.
that. Exactly. Dude is smart. I mean, to say, 9 months you're working, go work 3 other extra months, and then you get a living wage, that's bogus. Especially when those 9 months, you're using your own limited salary to buy school supplies. Buchensky, props to you he's given. He says, I will say this, Coach Buchensky says, those students that are bullied, if they can survive it mentally, emotionally, and with their lives, honestly, they are some of the strongest people I know. I know this from firsthand experience, Joey. You learn to handle more in life than those throwing the rocks at you. And dude, I've known you for all of like 3 days. You're a badass. Sorry, sweetheart.
Appreciate that, Coach.
Seriously, dude is a rock star. Oh, this show's been in fuego today. Final thoughts. Because Judah's going on vacation next week to the Outer Banks. So yep. Judah is not going to be directing the show next week at the Outer Banks. Joey Rifkin's running solo next week, and his first show is Real Talk on Monday morning at 10:15 a.m. with me, Keith Smith, and Jeff Gaffney, the CEO of Real Estate 3.
Jeff Gaffney. Wow, I see his Instagram posts all the time.
He does a lot of sponsored posts, doesn't he?
Yeah, I can tell him his stuff's showing up in my feed all the time.
Well, you're going to meet Jeff Gaffney on Monday.
Perfect.
We're going to have some final thoughts from Judah and Joey. So, gentlemen, organize those thoughts. I'll give you about 15 or 20 seconds to put those thoughts together as I fill some airtime with a little bit of monologue to allow the hamster wheels to spin. I encourage anyone that's watching this program to go to ilovecville.com and read the article, the story that I wrote, titled Albemarle County Public Schools rank in the bottom 11% of all Virginia public schools for black third grade math students. The kids that are getting screwed by the bus driver shortage are the same kids that are getting screwed in the SOL math and reading performance scenarios. So how can the kids close the education gap if they can't get to school on time? This is like death by 1,000 cuts. And the kids that can't do well in math and reading in the schools because they can't get to school on time because of the bus driver shortage, if they can't do well in math and reading, what is that going to translate to from a professional career standpoint? We're creating generations of poverty because of systematic failures. And those systematic failures are directly associated and pointed and tied to the school board and Albemarle County Public School leadership. Joey Rifkin's got a take to close. Some final thoughts for the young Jedi.
Final thoughts. Honestly, I just want to say, just all around, I think start with just changing the name of the schools. Now that it's done, all for it, cool. But now we really need to start focusing on the issues at hand. If that's what they wanted to deal with, they've dealt with it. Let's give the teachers a livable wage now. I think the time is finally here for where we can start paying teachers a respectable wage. And I think that goes for bus drivers too. I don't believe in anything that anyone would classify as low skill work. I don't believe that's a thing. So I don't believe $16 an hour is respectable for a bus driver at all. And then I'll just leave you with, if anyone watching happens to know anyone who is a teacher, maybe just if you feel kind enough to donate them some school supplies or just let them know how much you appreciate the work they do.
Dude, phenomenal. Crushed it. Dude's got stuff to say and delivers it well. Wickhauer.
We're rebranding schools because we deem someone from 100 or more years ago to be a racist, while calling people that we disagree with racists, while our kids are being actual racists. I think we need some introspection. There is a great line in the Bible that says, "See to the plank in your own eye before helping your neighbor take the speck out of his eye."
Damn.
Wow.
That was good, wasn't it?
That was.
Judah, fire, spitting it.
Thank you.
Bravo. A week in the Outer Banks, well earned. You just went out on a high note, Judah Wickhauer. Best thing you've ever said on this network, right there.
About fast.
No, well, it's most succinct.
Okay, fair enough.
Most succinct. I'll close with this. Oh, God. I'll close with this. If we don't prioritize public school education by making the right choices with our tax dollar allocations, we're going to have hallways of poor kids taught by teachers that are overworked, underpaid, and are thinking about quitting, and school bus drivers that are overworked, underpaid, and thinking about quitting. We're creating epicenters of poverty in public schools. There's a reason private school enrollment in Central Virginia is at an all-time high. Please do not allow our public schools to become epicenters of poverty. And as Michael Buchensky just said, these children will graduate without the ability to get a solid job or career, but at least they could be proud their school name is not racist.
Amen.
And on that note, for Judah Wickhauer and Joey Rifkin, this is the I Love CVille Show on a glorious Friday in Charlottesville, Virginia. So long, everybody.